Welcome, everyone, to this fascinating journey into the fundamentals of biomolecules. Today, we are going to explore a topic that is absolutely central to your own survival, health, and biology: essential and non-essential amino acids. Whether you are studying zoology, medicine, or simply want to understand how your own body builds its tissues, this concept is the perfect starting point. Let us dive in and discover what makes these tiny molecules so incredibly important. To begin our exploration, imagine you are building a magnificent, complex house. To finish this house, you need 20 different types of building materials. Fortunately, you have a small factory in your backyard that can manufacture 11 of these materials from scratch using basic dirt and water. However, your factory completely lacks the machinery to produce the remaining 9 materials. This means you absolutely must drive to the store and buy them. In the human body, proteins are the houses we build, and the 20 standard amino acids are our building materials. This simple analogy perfectly captures how our cells source what they need. Now that we understand the basic analogy of building materials, let us look at the formal biological definitions. Out of the 20 standard amino acids required for human protein synthesis, 9 are classified as essential amino acids. The term essential here means that the human body either cannot synthesize them at all or cannot synthesize them in sufficient quantities to meet our physiological demands. Therefore, it is absolutely mandatory that these 9 specific amino acids are consumed through our daily diet. If you do not eat them, your body simply will not have them. These include vital molecules like histidine, isoleucine, leucine, lysine, methionine, phenylalanine, threonine, tryptophan, and valine. Having identified the amino acids we must eat, what about the ones we can make ourselves? These are known as non-essential amino acids. Please do not let the name fool you. They are incredibly important for your survival. The label non-essential simply means that our cells can readily synthesize them from other metabolic intermediates, such as glucose or other amino acids already present in the body. Because your internal biological factory has the enzymes and machinery to manufacture these 11 amino acids on demand, they do not strictly need to be present in the food we eat every single day. Before we move on to the consequences of missing these molecules, let us visualize this sourcing process. On the screen, you can see a clear schematic of how our body obtains its building blocks. On the left, we see dietary sources like eggs and beans providing the essential amino acids directly to the human body. You must eat these. On the right, we see the internal cellular factory. Notice how it takes simple molecules like glucose and runs them through metabolic gears to synthesize the non-essential amino acids. Both pathways converge on the human figure, providing the complete set of 20 amino acids required to build and maintain healthy tissues. With this visual understanding in mind, we must ask, what happens if the system fails? Understanding the difference between these two categories is incredibly important for global health. If your diet lacks even a single essential amino acid, your body's entire protein synthesis machinery will grind to a halt. Imagine trying to build a brick wall, but running out of cement. The wall cannot be completed. Similarly, a protein chain cannot be completed if a required link is missing. This tragic situation leads to severe malnutrition diseases like kwashiorkor, which is characterized by devastating symptoms such as muscle wasting, edema, and stunted growth in children. This severe consequence of missing building blocks leads us to a very practical, everyday application. This concept is exactly why vegetarians and vegans must carefully combine different plant foods to stay healthy. For instance, let us look at a classic combination: rice and beans. Rice is a great energy source, but it is low in the essential amino acid lysine, while being high in methionine. Beans, on the other hand, are high in lysine but low in methionine. By eating them together in the same meal, the deficiencies cancel each other out. This combination provides a complete protein profile that the body desperately needs to keep its synthesis machinery running. Now that we know why combining proteins is vital, let us look at how nutritionists mathematically evaluate food quality. They use a formula called the amino acid score. Conceptually, this compares the weakest link in a food to a biologically perfect standard, like an egg. In this equation, S represents the amino acid score as a percentage. The variable A test is the amount of the limiting essential amino acid present in 1 gram of the food we are evaluating, measured in milligrams. The variable A ref is the amount of that exact same amino acid in 1 gram of the ideal reference protein. If A test increases, meaning the food is richer in that nutrient, the overall score S increases, indicating a higher quality protein. Let us apply this formula to a concrete example involving wheat, a staple food for billions. We are given that a sample of wheat protein contains 26 milligrams of the essential amino acid lysine per gram. Our perfect reference protein, an egg, contains 51 milligrams of lysine per gram. We want to find the amino acid score. First, we substitute our test value of 26 and our reference value of 51 directly into the formula. Dividing 26 by 51 gives us a raw decimal of approximately 0.5098. Finally, we multiply by 100 to convert this ratio into a readable percentage. The final answer is 51%. Physically, this means wheat only provides about half of the lysine your body requires, proving why relying solely on wheat leads to nutritional deficiency. Having scored individual foods, how do doctors measure if a patient's overall diet is actually working? They use a concept called nitrogen balance. Because amino acids are the primary source of nitrogen in the human body, tracking nitrogen is like tracking protein. Nitrogen balance is a clinical measurement that compares the nitrogen a person consumes through their diet against the total nitrogen they excrete. If a patient is taking in less nitrogen than they are losing, they enter a negative balance. This is a critical warning sign. It means the body is literally breaking down its own muscle and tissue proteins to survive because it is not getting enough essential amino acids from the diet. To quantify this clinical state, we use the nitrogen balance formula. Conceptually, this is a simple accounting equation: what goes in minus what goes out. In this formula, the variable B represents the net nitrogen balance, measured in grams per day. The variable I is the total dietary nitrogen intake. Inside the parentheses, we have the variables U, F, and S, which represent the physical nitrogen losses through urine, feces, and skin, respectively. If intake I increases, the balance B becomes more positive, indicating tissue growth and healing. Conversely, if the losses increase without a matching intake, the balance drops into the negative, indicating dangerous muscle wasting. Let us see how this formula is used to save lives in a hospital setting. Suppose a patient recovering from surgery consumes 12 grams of nitrogen through a liquid diet. Over that same day, they excrete 14 grams in urine, 1 gram in feces, and 0.5 grams through skin.
we need to calculate their nitrogen balance. We substitute the intake of 12 grams for I. Next, we plug in our losses and sum the values inside the parentheses, which gives a massive total loss of 15.5 grams. Subtracting 15.5 from 12 gives us a final answer of negative 3.5 grams per day. Physically, this negative value means the patient is actively losing more protein than they are taking in, and the medical team must immediately upgrade their diet to support healing.
We have covered a tremendous amount of ground today, so let us summarize our key takeaways. First, remember that the distinction between essential and non-essential is entirely about the source, not their importance. Your body desperately needs all 20 standard amino acids to survive. Second, your cellular machinery can manufacture the 11 non-essential ones, but you must consciously eat the 9 essential ones through a diverse diet. Finally, we learned how tools like the amino acid score and nitrogen balance allow scientists and doctors to mathematically evaluate diets and prevent severe malnutrition. Mastering these concepts gives you a profound understanding of human nutrition and biochemistry.